Coronation Street confirms how Carl Webster is finally exposed over Tyrone hit and run. Coronation Street has at last revealed how Carl Webster's carefully buried secret will come crashing back to the surface, reopening one of the soap's most haunting storylines of the year. Earlier this year, viewers watched in horror as Tyrone Dobbs was left with devastating injuries after being run down in a hit and run. While Tyrone remained unaware of who was responsible, Carl, the man behind the wheel, quietly slipped through the cracks of the investigation. For months, the case sat dormant, unresolved, and heavy with injustice. That uneasy calm shatters in today's episode. Carl appears visibly relieved when Debbie Webster and Ronnie Bailey are told by Abby Franklin that the police have officially dropped Tyrone's case. With no suspect and no clear evidence, there is little more the authorities can do, so that's it then, Carl says, allowing himself to believe the nightmare is over. Debbie, however, is left mourning a different loss, the possibility that Tyrone may never know who destroyed his life, but Coronation Street is never done with the truth for long. The episode cuts to an unexpected place, Liam Connor, reviewing drone footage for a school project. What begins as innocent homework quickly becomes something far more dangerous. On the screen, Liam sees a familiar figure, Carl, captured unmistakably by posture, by the tilt of his head, by the coat he wore that night. Even the car is recognizable, an old Navy hatchback that had sat outside the Websters' home for months. Liam tells himself he must be wrong. He tells himself not to show anyone. The footage is private, just homework. And yet the human mind does not tolerate secrets easily. It feeds on them. The next day, the image follows Liam everywhere. In the schoolyard, amid shouted football scores and birthday plans, the footage crawls through his thoughts like an insect he cannot swat away. He hides the SD card in his backpack like contraband. By afternoon, the weight becomes unbearable. Finally, he turns to Abby. Abby is the one who still makes him laugh as she did when he was small. She was there in the hospital with Tyrone. She understands grief, its shapes, its heft. When Liam shows her the clip, her face empties. She doesn't breathe. Liam, where did you get this? She asks, carefully. She doesn't ask who is in the car. She already suspects. As the footage plays, Abby watches Carl get into the car, start the engine, and disappear down the street. Relief and terror collide. Relief that the truth exists, terror over what it could destroy. There are choices now. Take it to the police. Or keep it hidden, letting the truth lie dormant, dangerous and alive. Abby doesn't tell Liam what to do. She quietly helps him copy the footage. Then she calls Debbie. Debbie's reaction is volcanic. In a kitchen thick with tension and weak tea, her hands shake so badly she drops a cup, shattering it on the floor. That's him, she whispers. That's Carl. Ronnie doesn't hesitate. We take it to the police. Meanwhile, Carl senses the shift before anyone confronts him. The relief he felt after the case was closed turns sour. He sleeps badly. Guilt sharpens into paranoia. He begins doing what guilty men do, controlling the narrative. Public apologies, visible gestures, flowers he can't afford. Abby watches him with mounting nausea. She's seen his face on the footage. The same smile, the same man. 2 nights before Christmas, Liam hands Debbie and Ronnie the evidence on a USB, wrapped with an apology. The police are called again. This time, the timestamp matches other sightings. A neighbor's photo places a similar car nearby that night. It's not a slam dunk, it never is, but it's enough. Whispers spread through Weatherfield. At the Rovers, at the cabin, one sentence circulates: someone has footage of Carl getting into a car the night Tyrone was hit. Carl's instinct is to flee. He tries, and fails, to sell the car. He drinks, then drinks more. When the police bring him in for questioning, they are careful. They aren't accusing him, not yet. But the footage exists. Procedure is moving again. When Carl leaves the station, the cold feels punishing. He wishes for snow. something to hide the tracks. Tyrone, meanwhile, fights his way back to life, stares without clinging to the rail, feeling returning to his foot, a laugh that no longer sounds broken. But there is a hollow in his chest that only one thing can fill, a name. Abby and Debbie decide Tyrone deserves to hear the truth from family first. That evening, Tyrone watches the footage. He recognizes the moment instantly, the headlights, the impact, the violence returning in slow motion. His face collapses, then hardens. "I told you," Ronnie says quietly. Carl hadn't expected confrontation, not like this. Drawn to the scene of his unraveling, he shows up at the door, shaking with shame. "I had to see him," Carl says. "I didn't mean." "You didn't mean?" Tyrone cuts in, voice steady and lethal. "You didn't mean to ruin my life." Under the weight of evidence and the faces of those he's hurt, Carl finally cracks. The confession comes haltingly, anger, panic, the decision to flee. "You could have come back," Tyrone says softly. "You could have knocked." "I was scared," Carl whispers. The arrest is swift. Handcuffs clink like punctuation. Carl's trial becomes a public reckoning. Liam's drone footage removes any space for denial. The verdict brings accountability, but not closure. What changes everything is the restorative process. Months later, Carl sits across from Tyrone. No courtroom, no theatrics, just truth. Tyrone listens, to apologies, to broken honesty, then stands and places a hand on Carl's shoulder. "You broke me," he says calmly. "I don't know if I'll ever forgive you. But I can see you're trying to be less of the man who left. There is no redemption arc, only work." Therapy, community service, accountability. Liam learns what it means to carry truth. He puts the drone away, understanding now that technology is not neutral, it reflects what people try to hide. Tyrone walks again. His laugh returns. Forgiveness comes slowly, not as a moment but as mornings that hurt less. There is no neat ending. Only truth, reckoning, and a community learning how to live with both harm and healing.